The massive view screen aboard the Concordia Observatory lit up with unprecedented energy readings, catching senior observer Vila Texen completely off guard. In her 3 decades of monitoring this sector of space, she had never seen anything quite like it. The facility's quantum sensors, normally more than capable of analyzing any ship that passed through their space, were struggling to make sense of what they were detecting. "Analysis complete, senior observer," announced Corell, her junior technician, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement. "But you're not going to believe these readings." Vila glided across the observatory's circular command center, her tentacles propelling her with practiced grace. The Concordia Observatory was the pride of the Galactic Federation's scientific fleet, a sprawling complex of sensors and research stations that had documented countless species and phenomena. But today was different. Today, everything was about to change. "Show me," she commanded, positioning herself before the main display. The holographic readout materialized before her, and for a moment, she thought there must be some mistake. The vessel they were tracking was unlike anything in their database. A sleek, angular ship approximately 2 kilometers in length, with energy emissions that defied their most advanced scanning techniques. "The hull composition is impossible," Corell continued, his voice trembling slightly. "It appears to be some kind of adaptive metamaterial that actively responds to our scans. And the power readings," he trailed off, gesturing helplessly at the numbers scrolling across the screen. Vila felt a mix of fear and fascination wash over her. The ship's power core was operating at levels that should have torn it apart, yet it moved through space with impossible grace. More concerning were the weapons arrays, dozens of them, integrated so seamlessly into the hull that they were almost invisible to casual observation. "Send a priority alert to the Federation Council," she ordered, her professional calm masking her inner turmoil. "Classification: First contact, technology level, superior." And Corell: "Initiate full documentation protocols." The universe just got more interesting. As her staff scrambled to comply with her orders, Vila couldn't help but marvel at the vessel's design. It was beautiful in its efficiency, every curve and angle serving a purpose. The ship's massive engines pulsed with a soft blue light that seemed to bend the very fabric of space around it. "Senior observer," Corell's voice cut through her contemplation. They're hailing us." The command center fell silent. First contact protocols were clear: observe, document, and wait for instructions from the Council. Direct communication was strictly forbidden without proper authorization. But as Vila stared at the incoming transmission request, she realized that conventional protocols might not apply here. This unknown species had already demonstrated technology far beyond their own. They could likely force communication if they wished. "Put it through," she decided, straightening herself to her full height. "Visual only." The view screen shifted, and Vila found herself face to face with something she had never seen before. A bipedal creature with pinkish-brown skin and dark hair, wearing what appeared to be a formal uniform. Its eyes were forward-facing, suggesting a predatory evolution, but they held an intelligence and curiosity that immediately struck her. "Greetings, Concordia Observatory," the creature spoke, its voice translated smoothly by their systems. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We come in peace and friendship." Vila felt her respiratory chambers contract slightly. The translation was perfect, too perfect. These beings had clearly been studying them for some time. "I am Senior Observer Vila Texen," she responded, choosing her words carefully. "Your arrival is unexpected. Our records contain no reference to your species, the human, as they would soon learn to call them," smiled, an expression that Vila would come to understand as friendly. "That's not surprising, Senior Observer. We've been careful about our first contact procedures. We've learned that suddenly appearing with superior technology can be unsettling for some species." A diplomatic understatement if Vila had ever heard one. The energy readings from a single one of their weapon systems could power the entire observatory for a year. "Your consideration is appreciated, Captain Chen," Vila replied. "Though I must inform you that I lack the authority to engage in formal diplomatic relations." "Of course," Chen nodded. "We're aware of your Federation's protocols. We're happy to wait for your council to convene and decide how to proceed. In the meantime, perhaps we could exchange scientific data. Nothing sensitive, just basic astronomical observations. We've noticed some fascinating phenomena in this sector that we'd love to discuss with fellow researchers." The offer was carefully crafted, non-threatening, appealing to their scientific nature, while simultaneously demonstrating that these humans had done their homework. They knew exactly who and what the Concordia Observatory was. As Vila agreed to the exchange, she couldn't help but feel that the galaxy had suddenly become much larger and much more complex. The human ship alone represented technological achievements that the Federation's best minds had deemed theoretically impossible. Yet here they were, casually defying those limitations while extending a friendly hand. Over the next several hours, as they exchanged astronomical data and engaged in carefully measured conversation, Vila began to understand why these humans had chosen this approach. They were clearly capable of simply appearing in the heart of Federation space and demanding attention. Instead, they had deliberately chosen this remote observatory, allowing the Federation to process their existence gradually. As she watched Captain Chen enthusiastically discuss the properties of a nearby nebula with her staff, Vila realized that the Federation's greatest challenge might not be dealing with human military superiority, but rather adapting to the presence of a species that combined such overwhelming power with such careful restraint. The game had changed. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the great halls of the Federation Council, leaders were about to face a question that would reshape their civilization. How do you welcome a species that could just as easily conquer you, but chooses instead to extend a hand in friendship? 2 weeks after first contact with the humans, the Concordia Observatory's emergency alarms shattered the usual calm of deep space research. Vila Tixan was reviewing the latest cultural exchange data from the Earth vessel Horizon when the alert reached her station. Multiple hostile signatures detected. Kirill's voice carried across the command center, his bioluminescence flashing warning patterns. Emergence from hyperspace detected at coordinates 227 Mark 43. Configuration matches swarm vessels. The word swarm sent a chill through Vila's body. The mysterious species had appeared 6 cycles ago, attacking seemingly at random, their organic-mechanical hybrid ships proving nearly impossible to defend against. The Federation's most advanced weapons barely scratched their regenerating hulls. How many? Vila demanded, already knowing the answer wouldn't be good. 37 vessels, varying sizes. Largest appears to be a Hive-class carrier. Kirill's voice trembled. They're on an attack vector for the Lumerus colony. Estimated arrival: 6 hours. Lumerus, a peaceful agricultural world with minimal defenses and over 3 million Federation citizens. The nearest Federation battle fleet was 2 days away at maximum speed. The math was brutally simple. Lumerus would fall before help could arrive. Send emergency broadcasts to all Federation channels, Vila ordered, her tentacles writhing with anxiety, and open a channel to the horizon. The human vessel had remained in the sector, engaging in scientific and cultural exchanges, while the Federation Council debated how to proceed with formal diplomatic relations. Now, Vila found herself hoping that humanity's apparent technological superiority wasn't just for show. Captain Chen's face appeared on the screen almost immediately. "We've detected them too, Senior Observer. Nasty bunch. Some kind of biomechanical hive mind, if our analysis is correct." "Captain," Vila began, choosing her words carefully, "I know we have no formal alliance, but there are 3 million civilians on Lumerus. They have no chance against a swarm fleet this size." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes hardened. "Tell me about these swarm ships." "Weaknesses? None that we found. Their hulls regenerate faster than our weapons can damage them. They're partially organic, partially mechanical, and completely lethal. We've lost 15 worlds to them in the past 6 cycles. The human captain nodded, then turned to speak to someone off-screen. When she faced Vila again, there was a hint of a smile on her face. "Senior observer, would you be willing to share your tactical data on previous swarm encounters? It might help us level the playing field." "Of course, but..." Vila hesitated. "Captain, even your vessel, impressive as it is, would be outnumbered 37-1. Chen's smile widened. "About that. Computer, deactivate stealth fields on support fleet." Vila's command center erupted in chaos as new signatures suddenly appeared on their sensors. Where moments before there had been a single human vessel, now there were 12, arranged in a perfect defensive formation around the horizon. They had been there the whole time, completely invisible to the observatory's most advanced detection systems. "Battle Group Sigma, reporting for duty," Chen announced, her voice carrying a hint of pride. "We've been conducting field tests of our new phase-shift stealth systems. Figured it was better not to show all our cards during first contact. Didn't want to seem too threatening. But given the circumstances..." Vila stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The human vessels varied in size and configuration, but each one radiated power signatures that dwarfed Federation capital ships. And their stealth technology. It hadn't just masked their presence, it had made them completely undetectable. "Captain," one of Vila's analysts called out, their voice filled with awe. "The energy readings from their weapon systems, they're orders of magnitude beyond anything we've ever recorded." "Quantum cascade cannons," Chen explained casually. "They disrupt matter at the subatomic level. Should be interesting to see how those regenerating hulls handle that. We've also got some new toys our R&D department has been eager to test in the field." Hope began to replace fear in Vila's heart. Maybe, just maybe, Immerse had a chance. "Your council has authorized this intervention. We have standing orders to prevent genocide when possible," Chen replied, her expression growing serious. "Besides, these swarm creatures seem like the type that would eventually become everyone's problem. Better to deal with them now." The human captain straightened in her chair. "Battle Group Sigma will move to intercept. We'll handle the combat operations, but we could use your observatory sensors to track any swarm ships that try to slip past us. Sometimes these hive mind types get clever when they're desperate." "Of course," Vila agreed quickly. "We'll coordinate with your tactical officers." "Excellent." Chen's smile returned, but now it held a predatory edge. Time to show these swarm creatures why humanity reached the stars through ingenuity rather than brute force. "Though," she added with a wink, "we're pretty good at brute force too when necessary." As the human battle group accelerated toward their intercept point, Vila found herself wondering if the swarm was about to learn the same lesson that the Concordia Observatory had 2 weeks ago, that humanity's technological superiority was matched only by their willingness to stand up for others. The next 6 hours would prove historic, the day humanity officially revealed their true military capabilities to the galaxy at large. The day the seemingly unstoppable swarm met its match. The day everything changed. And as Vila watched the human ships move with impossible precision into battle formation, she couldn't help but feel grateful that these incredible beings had chosen to be friends rather than conquerors. The galaxy was about to witness firsthand why that choice was so significant. The command center of the Concordia Observatory had transformed into an impromptu war room. Vila and her staff watched in stunned silence as Battle Group Sigma moved to engage the swarm fleet. The human vessels had arranged themselves in what Captain Chen called a quantum web formation, their ships positioned with mathematical precision. "Swarm vessels entering weapons range in 30 seconds, Krell announced, his bioluminescence pulsing rapidly with excitement and fear. They're not even trying to evade. They don't see our human allies as a threat. That's about to change." Chen's voice came through the comm channel, cool and confident. "All ships, execute Operation Checkmate. Phase 1, commence." What happened next would be studied in Federation military academies for generations to come. The human ships suddenly accelerated to speeds that should have been impossible, their quantum drives leaving trails of distorted spacetime in their wake. Instead of engaging the swarm fleet head-on, they wove between the biomechanical vessels with incredible precision. Energy spike detected. One of Vila's analysts shouted, "The human ships are generating some kind of quantum field network." The space between the human vessels lit up with geometric patterns of pure energy, forming a massive web that encompassed the entire swarm fleet. The alien vessels, finally sensing danger, attempted to break formation and retreat. They were too late. Phase 2, Chen commanded. Quantum cascade initiated. The energy web pulsed, and reality itself seemed to shudder. When Vila's sensors finally managed to make sense of what they were seeing, she could hardly believe the results. The swarm ship's regenerative hulls, which had proved nearly invincible against Federation weapons, were literally coming apart at the molecular level. "By the ancient stars," Krell whispered. "Their quantum cascade technology, it's not just disrupting their hulls, it's preventing the molecular bonds from reforming. They've completely neutralized the swarm's regenerative capabilities." But the swarm hadn't survived countless battles by being predictable. The remaining ships suddenly split apart, their organic components separating from their mechanical parts. The organic sections began merging into larger entities, while the mechanical components reconfigured themselves into smaller, faster attack craft. "Adaptive response," Chen noted, sounding almost impressed. "Battle group, shift to Protocol Echo 7. Time to show them why humanity excels at asymmetric warfare." The human battle group's response was immediate and devastating. Half their ships launched what appeared to be microscopic drones by the thousands, swarms of their own to counter the swarm's smaller craft. The other ships reconfigured themselves, their hulls flowing like liquid metal into new forms optimized for engaging larger targets. "Those are ADM units," Chen explained as Vila watched in amazement. "Autonomous defense and attack microsystems. Each one has more computing power than your entire observatory. And those hull transformations. Programmable matter controlled by quantum eye. We learned a long time ago that the best way to fight adaptive enemies is to be even more adaptive yourself." The battle that followed was unlike anything in Federation records. The human ADM swarms engaged the mechanical swarm components in a dance of impossible complexity, while the larger human vessels systematically dismantled the organic super-entities with precision strikes from their quantum weapons. "Captain," Vila called out, noting something on her sensors. "3 swarm vessels are attempting to break through toward Immerse, using the battle as cover." "Already on it," Chen replied. "Horizon, if you would do the honors." The flagship of the human battle group hadn't moved since the battle began. Now Vila understood why. The Horizon's hull began to glow with collected energy, and suddenly space itself seemed to fold. The 3 escaping swarm ships found themselves directly in front of the Horizon, as if the intervening space had simply ceased to exist. "Localized space-time manipulation," Chen explained casually. "Useful for catching runners. Quantum cascade cannons. Fire." The weapons fired, and the swarm ships simply ceased to exist, their molecular bonds scattered across space-time. Within 20 minutes of the battle's start, it was over. Not a single swarm ship had escaped. More importantly, not a single human vessel had sustained significant damage. "Threat neutralized," Chen reported. "Beginning cleanup operations. We'll want to collect samples of their technology for analysis. Know your enemy and all that." Vila found her voice at last. "Captain, I don't know how to thank you. You've saved millions of lives today." "No thanks necessary, Senior Observer. Though if you're interested, we'd love to establish a more formal alliance with the Federation. These swarm creatures have been attacking your worlds for 6 cycles. Maybe it's time to do something about that." As Vila watched the human ships efficiently collecting debris from the battle, she realized that the galaxy had fundamentally changed today. The swarm, which had terrorized the Federation for years, had just been completely outmatched by a single human battle group. "Captain," she said carefully, "the Federation Council will definitely want to discuss that alliance now. But I have to ask, if your technology is this advanced, why approach us peacefully at all? Why not simply take what you want?" Chen's response was immediate and firm. "Because that's not who we are. Not anymore. Humanity learned long ago that true strength isn't about domination. It's about protection. We don't want subjects or servants. We want allies, partners, friends." She paused, then added with a slight smile, "Besides, we found that making friends is far more interesting than making enemies. There's so much we can learn from each other." The sincerity in her voice was unmistakable. These humans, with all their incredible technology and power, genuinely wanted peaceful cooperation. They had the ability to conquer, but chose instead to protect. As the cleanup operation continued, Vila began drafting her report to the Federation Council. She had a feeling the lengthy debates about how to approach relations with humanity were about to become much shorter. After all, who wouldn't want allies like these? 1 month after the Battle of Immerse, the Concordia Observatory had become the unofficial headquarters for Human Federation relations. The facility's research labs and meeting spaces now hosted scientists, diplomats, and cultural experts from both civilizations. Vila found herself constantly amazed by how quickly things had changed. Today, she was observing a particularly fascinating exchange in the main laboratory. Dr. Maya Patel, the Horizon's chief scientist, was demonstrating human medical technology to a group of Federation doctors. The device she held looked deceptively simple, a small silver sphere that fit in the palm of her hand. The nanosphere contains approximately 10 billion programmable medical nanites, Dr. Patel explained, her dark eyes bright with enthusiasm. Each one is capable of performing complex cellular repair and modification. We primarily use them for emergency trauma treatment, but they're versatile enough to handle everything from viral infections to genetic disorders. Federation Medical Director Zorax, his crystalline form shimmering with interest, raised an appendage. "But how do you prevent the nanites from causing unintended mutations? Our own attempts at medical nanotechnology have always struggled with precision control." Patel smiled. "That's where quantum entanglement comes in. Each nanite is quantum linked to the control sphere, allowing for real-time adjustments at the atomic level. Here, let me show you." She placed the sphere next to a tissue sample that had been deliberately damaged. The sphere glowed softly, and under the molecular scanner, they could watch as the tissue began repairing itself with impossible speed. Across the observatory, similar exchanges were taking place. In the engineering section, human technicians were helping Federation engineers understand the basics of quantum cascade technology. In return, Federation experts shared their extensive knowledge of bioengineering and organic computing, fields where their civilization excelled. Captain Chen had been right, Vila reflected. The humans genuinely wanted to learn from them, even with their vast technological advantage. They approached every interaction with curiosity and respect, never treating Federation knowledge as primitive or outdated. "Senior observer," Corell called from his station, interrupting her thoughts. "The preliminary analysis of the swarm debris is complete. You'll want to see this." Vila glided over to his console, where both human and Federation scientists had gathered. The results were surprising. The swarm's biomechanical technology was far more sophisticated than they had initially believed. "Look at these neural pathways," Dr. Patel pointed out. "They're not just a hive mind. Each ship is a fully sentient being. They're not attacking randomly. They're desperately searching for resources to sustain their civilization. Which explains their regenerative capabilities," added Federation scientist Nexer, his tentacles weaving excitedly. "They're not just repairing damage. They're adapting and evolving during combat. Classic example of technological evolution outpacing ethical development," Chen commented, having joined the group quietly. "We've seen it before. A species develops incredible biotechnology, but doesn't consider the long-term consequences. They probably transformed themselves into these hybrid creatures to survive some crisis, and now they can't change back. The implications were profound. The swarm wasn't simply a mindless enemy. They were a tragic cautionary tale, a civilization that had taken a desperate gamble for survival and lost their way. Perhaps, Vila suggested carefully, with our combined knowledge, Federation bioengineering and human quantum technology, we might find a way to help them. Chen's expression brightened. Now that's the kind of thinking we love to see. Turning enemies into potential friends. That's exactly why we wanted to partner with the Federation. You see possibilities where others might only see threats. The next few hours were spent in intense discussion, with experts from both civilizations brainstorming ways to potentially communicate with and assist the swarm. The humans' quantum technology might be able to break through their hive mind programming, while Federation bioengineering could help stabilize their hybrid nature. You know, Chen said quietly to Vila as they watched their teams work together. Some of our more cautious military leaders worried about sharing advanced technology with other species. They feared it might eventually be used against us. And now, Vila asked, now they're starting to understand what our first contact specialists have been saying all along. The best defense isn't superior weapons or technology. It's building genuine relationships, making real connections. She gestured at the busy laboratory. Look at them. Different species, different evolutionary paths, different technological bases. But working together, they're already finding solutions neither side could have developed alone. Vila understood. The humans could have easily dominated the galaxy with their technology, but they had chosen a harder, more rewarding path. They wanted to lift other civilizations up, not hold them down. A sudden commotion drew their attention. One of the human scientists had apparently made a breakthrough in analyzing the swarm's communication patterns. The excitement in the room was palpable as both human and Federation experts crowded around the displays, each contributing their unique perspectives to understanding the discovery. Captain, Vila said, watching the scene with satisfaction, I believe your approach to first contact was more successful than you could have imagined. The Federation hasn't just gained powerful allies. We've gained teachers, students, and friends. Chen smiled. That's the real power of humanity, Senior Observer. Not our technology or our weapons, but our ability to bring people together, to face challenges not alone, but as a community. She paused, then added with a grin, though the advanced technology certainly doesn't hurt. As the day continued, Vila couldn't help but feel optimistic about the future. The galaxy was still a dangerous place, with many challenges ahead. But facing those challenges alongside humanity made them seem far less daunting. Together, they might not just survive. They might actually build something greater than either civilization could have achieved alone. 6 months after the Battle of Immerse, the Concordia Observatory barely resembled its former self. What had once been a quiet research station had evolved into a bustling center of interstellar cooperation. The facility had been expanded with human quantum engineering and Federation biotechnology, creating a unique hybrid of both civilizations' architectural styles. Today was particularly significant. Representatives from both the Federation Council and Earth's United Space Command had gathered to witness the first test of Project Renaissance, the ambitious joint initiative to communicate with and potentially rehabilitate the swarm. Vila stood beside Captain Chen in the observatory's new Quantum Communications Center, watching as the combined team made their final preparations. The chamber was filled with a mix of human quantum computers and Federation organic processors, working in perfect harmony. Signal array ready, Dr. Patil announced, her hands dancing over the holographic controls. Quantum entanglement field is stable. Federation biorhythm synchronizers are online. Next to her, Federation scientist Nexer monitored the organic interfaces. Biological translation matrices are functioning at optimal levels. We're ready to broadcast. The target was a small group of swarm vessels that had been isolated and contained by human ships using quantum barrier technology. For weeks, the joint science team had been studying their communications patterns, developing a way to break through their hive mind programming without causing harm. Remember, Chen addressed the gathered officials, our goal isn't to destroy or dominate the swarm, but to help them remember who they were before their transformation. The combination of human quantum technology and Federation bioengineering should allow us to bypass their combat programming and reach the consciousness beneath. Initiating broadcast, Dr. Patil announced. Quantum wave harmonics matching Federation biosignature patterns. Now, the air hummed with energy as the signal was transmitted. On the main screen, they watched as the contained swarm vessels initially reacted with typical aggressive patterns, but then, something changed. We're getting a response. Nexer's crystalline form pulsed with excitement. The biological components are resonating with our signal. Their neural patterns are shifting. The swarm vessels had stopped their aggressive movements. Their hybrid forms seemed to ripple and shift, as if struggling with some internal change. They're trying to communicate, Dr. Patil reported, her voice hushed. Converting quantum biosignals now. The message that came through was fragmented, distorted, but unmistakably conscious. Help, remember, lost, so long lost. A cheer went up from the assembled team. After centuries of existing as little more than biological machines, the swarm, or at least these few members of it, were remembering their original nature. This is just the beginning, Chen said quietly to Vila as they watched the celebrations. The real work starts now, helping them rebuild their civilization, find a way to reverse their transformation if they choose, or at least stabilize their current form. Vila nodded. And none of this would have been possible without both our peoples working together. Human quantum science to break through their programming. Federation biotechnology to help them heal. That's what I love about this partnership, Chen smiled. We're not just sharing technology or resources. We're combining our perspectives, our approaches to problem solving, creating solutions neither of us could have imagined alone. The success of Project Renaissance marked a turning point in galactic history. The Federation Council, impressed by both the humans' military protection and their dedication to peaceful solutions, formally ratified an alliance treaty the following week. Earth was welcomed as a full partner in galactic affairs, their advanced technology now openly shared with proper safeguards and protocols. But more importantly, the project demonstrated a new way forward. Other species, seeing how the former swarm threat was being resolved through cooperation rather than conflict, began reaching out to both humanity and the Federation. The galaxy was changing, evolving from a collection of suspicious, isolated civilizations into an interconnected community. 3 years after first contact, the Concordia Observatory had become the headquarters of the new Galactic Scientific Coalition. The facility's labs and research centers were filled with scientists from dozens of species, all working together on the frontiers of knowledge. The quantum organic hybrid technology pioneered during Project Renaissance had spawned entirely new fields of study. You know, Chen said to Vila one day, as they watched a group of young scientists, human, Federation, and even 2 reformed swarm members, collaborating on a new project. When we first detected your observatory, some of our advisors suggested we skip first contact entirely. They thought a civilization at your technological level couldn't offer us anything worthwhile. And now, Vila asked, already knowing the answer. Now they understand what we've always believed, that true advancement doesn't come from technology alone. It comes from diversity of thought, from combining different perspectives and approaches. Chen gestured at the bustling facility around them. Look at what we've accomplished together in just 3 years. This is why humanity chose to reach out peacefully, why we wanted allies rather than subjects. Because the real frontier isn't out there in space, it's in what we can achieve when we work together. As if to emphasize her point, alarms began sounding from the quantum organic long-range sensors. Another piece of hybrid technology that neither civilization could have created alone. A new anomaly had been detected at the edge of known space, something that defied both human and Federation understanding. Chen and Vila shared a look of excitement. Once, such a discovery would have been met with fear. Now, it was an opportunity for further cooperation, another chance to combine their civilization's strengths. "Shall we see what new mysteries the universe has in store for us?" Chen asked with a grin. Together, Vila agreed, her tentacles waving with anticipation. And as they moved to gather their team, human, Federation, and others alike, both knew that this was just the beginning. The future held endless possibilities, not because of humanity's advanced technology or the Federation's biological insights, but because they had learned the greatest lesson of all, that the strongest force in the universe isn't quantum science or biological engineering, but the power of different peoples working together toward a common goal. The stars stretched out before them, infinite in their mystery, but now they faced those mysteries not as separate civilizations, but as one united community. And that, more than any weapon or technology, was humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy.